Try that. Hello.
All right.
We're
Hi.
live.
We're
What's going
live.
on, Siobhan? How are you?
I'm great, Craig. How are you?
Doing great. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh my God. It's still odd and it's still fresh. And yet it seems like so much has already happened.
I know.
Like it's as if 2021 has been here for a while.
Yes.
Or we're still stuck in 2020. I don't know what people are feeling or how it's really working out. What's going on with you?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, same. It's been a crazy busy week already, and it's only Tuesday. I've actually asked myself 3 times today, wait, it's only Tuesday, right? Because it is still crazy.
My 3-year-old daughter asked me if it was the Sabbath already, which it's Friday night, and like we're like, no, we're not there yet. I know it seems weird, but yeah, no, it's definitely been crazy. So, what are we doing here tonight? Why don't you enlighten the fine folks on your page and
All
out
right.
there in the virtual world?
Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Leadership by Design, where we talk about creating the business that you want and designing the business that you want by creating leaders and the culture that you want in your business. We've started a series of topics on the mistakes that business leaders or CEOs or anybody running a business makes. Last week, Craig, we had a great show and a great topic with and some panelists on where we talked about the mistake of hiring too fast. And that, of course, went into hiring too slow and all kinds of the hiring issues and mistakes that people make. So we're kind of continuing that a little bit, but in a different direction. So today we're talking about the mistake of doing it alone, right?
Yeah.
So not hiring. So the mistakes that we make by hiring, but then there's the mistake that we can make by doing it alone. So Craig, what do you have for our viewers for that?
Uh, it's so funny because this really actually was part of our conversation last week, without even looking towards what this week was going to be like at that point in time. We jump into business thinking that we're supposed to either somebody's supposed to take care of all of it for us, or we're supposed to be able to do everything perfectly. And in reality, neither of those are true. We're supposed to be the ones working hardest on our business. If we're not thinking more about our outcomes, about our passion and mission more than anybody else, if we don't love our mission more than anybody else, chances are we're going to get caught up somewhere along the way. But in the end of it all, we're not going to do everything perfectly, especially if we don't know what we're doing, right?
Right.
We're gonna fall down. And the best part is that almost anything that's being done, right? There's an old line that I believe it's a line from the Bible that talks about there's nothing new under the sun, right? Everything already exists, and people have already done these things before us. Maybe not exactly. Hopefully, you're in the place where you're creating, that one true breakthrough in the world that's gonna make everything better. But people have done the whole business creation, and we can model those around us, those that have come before us, and say, oh, let's not necessarily take this on. Let's maybe outsource this part of our business, or let's ask for help. Let's go to somebody who might know it a little bit better. We were on, I don't know if you were on the call last night, on the Unblinded call last night, but they were talking about there are amazing people out there who have been so successful in the world. Why don't we just go to them and say, can you help me with this?
Mhm.
Can you guide me? Right? Find somebody who you can see as a mentor and ask them questions and say, maybe you know how to do this better, or maybe you know somebody who I can go to for advice as to how to do this better. That's been my experience, not just obviously with myself, but everybody I work with. And again, I always like to give the caveat that this is for everybody who's starting a business, entrepreneurs, people who are just starting out, and people who have been in business for a long time. We get caught up so much in the day-to-day. People who have been in business 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We get caught up so much in the day-to-day sometimes that we don't recognize that it's time to stop, think about where we are, think about some shifts, innovations, iterations that we're doing on our business, and maybe there's somebody or something out there that can help us along the way. We don't have to do it alone.
Mhm.
We're not on an island. So
Absolutely. And it's what we've talked about. Any success coach or business coach or anybody that you look at that you talk to, like Tony Robbins says it all the time, right? Success leaves clues, right?
Exactly.
So if you want to be successful, you want your business to be successful, then stop trying to do it by yourself. Stop trying to do it alone and go find somebody who's done what you want to do. Where somebody who's taken their business where you want to take their business and model what they've done. You know, you might have to make, like you said, some innovation, some tweaks to what does work for your business, but you can model their overall plan, or you can, find out if they're willing to mentor you, and read those things. And one of the things that, at the last Tony Robbins event that I went to that he talked about when he started really talking about success leaves clues is not just that you need to go and, find their business model and model it, but you know what? A lot of these guys write autobiographies, or
Yeah.
if they didn't write an autobiography, then there's a an authorized biography written about them. So go read books about them. And 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 as many Tony Robbins events as I've been to, and I've heard him say that 100 times, and I've heard other coaches say that 100 times, it never really hit me until the last EPW that I went to. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And then suddenly I was on Amazon and I had like 20 books, in my Amazon account that I've had to order. And so one of the people that I look up to is Richard Branson, and just the amazing things that he's created and that he's done in the world and the businesses that he has. And so, I'm reading both of his autobiographies, and so his were one of the first two that I bought. And it's just and it's even more amazing, so I'm even more in awe of him after reading his autobiography, his first one, and I'm getting into the second one of just all of the amazing things that he's done and accomplished, and even more so that I see of the things that he's done in contribution, right? And in
Yeah.
giving back, and the things that he's done in giving. And they said that on the call even last night, on the Unblinded call, is that the more that you're giving, right, the more you're contributing, the more that you're going to be blessed with in your business to be able to contribute even more. So when you're coming at your business from the spirit of giving and contribution, then you're going to get blessed with, so that you can give and contribute even more. So I think I went off on a different tangent there than what we intended to go into, but the overall, is that success leaves clues. So don't do it alone. Find a mentor, find somebody who's done it. And if you don't have to, obviously you can't go knocking down Richard Branson's door. He's not probably going to mentor somebody like me, but there are local business people, or people within the state that have accomplished what I've accomplished. I found that mentor, right? And and Sean Callaghan, and that was funny how that came along for me, right? I mean, I went on one of Sean's shows and heard everything about him, that he is an attorney and he's got this multi-million-dollar law firm, and he's started $1 million law firm and sold it, and then a coaching business and sold it, and then another multi-million-dollar law firm, and then starting another coaching multi-million-dollar business. And I'm like, okay, this man has accomplished everything I want to do. He's spoken on Tony Robbins stage, what, 9 out of the last 11 things, and that's one of my goals, is to speak on Tony Robbins stage. And I'm like, I need to be near this person, because this person's accomplished everything I want to accomplish in my life, and I need to figure out how to make that happen. And then, what you know it, there's a whole entire coaching program that he had that I was able to join and get into, to be able to be mentored by him. And now I'm coached and mentored by him one-on-one, right? And so, you find those things in those people that you can do. And not just about finding a mentor, though, when we talk about do it alone, to go off on another side note to that now, which I think we hit on last week. And I think it was Tony that we had on last week that even talked about, being able to delegate out, right? A lot of times as the business owner, we want to take so much control over the business. And I can tell you, this is something that is huge, especially for us attorneys, right? We are control freaks. And so, trying to give up control of things over your business is really, really tough to do. You think that nobody's going to do it better than you. And frankly, nobody should do things in your business. Well, there's some people need to do it better than you, but you should know how to do everything in your business, because like we talked about last week, you can't make somebody in your business irreplaceable. Right? So you need to be able to step in and do something that they do, but you need to delegate to somebody who can do it better than you, or who can take that thing off your plate, because as a business owner, you need to be focusing your time on the high level, high dollar value items that are going to make and bring in business, and stop doing the administrative BS. Right? And that's the stuff that needs to get delegated out. So don't do it alone. And one of the things that I'm sure that you get asked a lot, Craig, because I have too, is, but I can't afford to hire somebody to handle the administrative stuff. Right.
Right.
And I'm sure your response is the same thing as mine, is that you can't afford not to hire somebody. Right. Because if you're spending 20 hours a week or 30 hours a week on administrative things, that's 20 to 30 hours a week you're not spending on building your business and bringing in business and marketing and the high value, high dollar things that the business owner needs to focus on. So if you freed up 20 hours a week by outsourcing that to somebody or hiring somebody, you know, how much of that time then, or how much money is that the potential that you're bringing in, and you're going to pay for that person. So definitely ways that you can not do it alone. So oops, sorry. No, I don't know if you heard that, but that was me pulling up the live feed on my phone so I can see who's watching us. We do have people watching us, so hi everybody.
Oh, that's awesome. Hi everybody who's watching. It's great to see you. I'm glad that you've come and joined us and you're listening into to us sharing and going back and forth on this. You know, two things that I wanted to bring up is that, first off, you shared about, Tony Robbins talks about success leaves clues, and he talks about biographies, right? He said it's a big thing. He said when his development started, he read, what was it? It's like 700 books in 7 years, right? And I remember thinking about that, right? And you're talking about, let's say you put it down to 100 books a year. That's one book every 3 days. Mm-hmm. Now he talks about reading personal development and health and psychology and emotional awareness and all those things. But one thing that he's very intentional about is that he speaks about reading biographies, reading stories about people who have been successful before, because the success leaves clues. Mm-hmm. And the opportunity to talk about hiring different people for different reasons. Necessarily, if you're trying to market your business, it's great that you want to learn how to market your business, but you are better off probably at least be a graphic. If you're not a graphic designer, hiring on Fiverr for $5 somebody to design your logo, right? You know, it's not going to it's going to hurt your business in the end if you're going to spend your time trying to figure out, oh, let me go learn how to do a logo. Let me go and spend my time figuring out how to create these products, how to do this marketing, how to do this outreach, rather than spending that money on the person who's going to do it in a shorter amount of time, and this is their wheelhouse. So you can focus on what you're going to be better off in your business.
Absolutely.
And it does come down to contribution. There's actually this amazing game out there that most people don't know about. It's called FreshBiz. It's in Israel, and it's being used in a lot of startup companies over there. And people know Israel is the startup capital in the world. Like it is the fastest growing tech hub and incubator in the world. And these companies are using this game and it's a board game. Like literally, it's just a board game. Looks like Monopoly. And you have different cards and different players, and you do business deals and investments and everything like that. And as you're moving from place to place, you have to be able to get to a way where you're moving to 4 different places in the board. And as you're going from place to place, there are specific things you can and cannot do at different times. And the rules of the game, there are no real rules of the game. Things change along the way. It's very cool the way that they do it. You actually have to get trained into how to bring this game into companies, because there's different ways to do it. And as you're bringing it in, you can actually change the rules of the game, because that's the way business is. Things sort of just change on a dime, right? And there's an island. Right at the end of it all, we spoke about Richard Branson, there's an island, right, you want to get to. And you want to get to this island because it's the tropical paradise. And people get all the way to the island. And one thing that I always see people doing, when people are like running these seminars, they'll wait till somebody is so excited. They get to them like, yes, I got to the island, I won. And they close the border to the island. And then nobody can get over there. And that person is alone on that island with all their money and all their accomplishments, but they're alone, and they get nothing and no help, and then other people are going around the board, and they're amassing more wealth, and they're bringing in more people, and they're building more communities, and they're creating more in the world as time goes on. Because some people even go back to the beginning and start over again. And as they're doing, and then this person is just sitting there doing nothing. It's like, great, you're out of the game. Because
Amazing.
the people think that where we want to get to, some people have that mindset is I want to get to that island. I want to get to where I could say I won. But
Right.
there's no winning, right? Simon, and we brought up Simon Sinek last time, and I personally I love this idea. The first, this that he talks about this, the idea of the infinite game. He wrote a book called Infinite Game, and it's phenomenal. And it's about the fact that so many people are playing a finite game, right? All games, right? Sports, card games, they all have rules, right? There are certain points you have to get, certain cards you have to get or give up, certain goals you have to reach, right? All these different ideologies, even running as a sport, right? You have to have a certain amount of time, you have to beat the person. There is a set rules that every person on every side is going to adhere to and say, when this happens, this person wins and this person loses. When it comes to business, we don't have those rules.
Mhm.
What your rules are for winning is not necessarily my rules. So when somebody jumps up and says, I'm number one, somebody else can come up and be like, you're number one in what? In shared time and market share and in sales given and clients received. Like, what are you number one in? I didn't agree to any rules that you're putting up as your number one. And yet people jump up and say it all the time.
Mhm.
The difference is that in business, it's really an infinite game. Just like real life, right? It's always an infinite game. It's never about what the person next to you is doing, is what you're doing, right? And that's the idea of not being on an island, not being all alone, not doing it by yourself, really recognizing that we are, right? We are a communal creature, right? We belong together. That's the idea of building culture in business also, that eluded people for so long, which is why everything fell apart right in the beginning, in the middle of the century, because people did not understand that it had to do with everybody working together. Once people started recognizing that, all of a sudden those companies flourished straight through, because that's really what it comes down to. Is Henry Ford, like him or hate him, his politics, whatever it is, brilliant idea when he brought up the idea of a mastermind.
Mhm.
Sit in a room with 5 people that you see smarter than you, and your life will get better.
And more successful than you.
Always.
Right? Smarter and more successful than you. So I was talking to somebody a few months ago. We were out and just kind of talking and having a meeting, and he made such a great point. In like the mastermind groups, we called them 10 by 10s, right? In the language that we used in their kind of mastermind groups and what we talk about. And it's like, I never want to be the lowest person in the 10 by 10, right? So because you're going to get dropped, right? You're going to get dropped out of that mastermind, right? Because the point of these things and not doing it alone and doing these things. And I actually did a post about this morning on my social media, which was, surrounding yourself with successful people, with positive people, with those people who are going to uplift you. And the post that I even did is like, the saying goes, and it's true, that you are the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So you don't like where your life is? Take a look at the 5 people you spend the most time with and figure out who needs to change. And it's perfectly okay to change that. If you want to up-level your life, up-level the people that you're surrounding yourself with every single day. That doesn't mean you have to like say goodbye completely to those other people that you had relationships with, but look at who your inner circle is and up-level your inner circle if you want to up-level your business and your life, your income, your net worth, all of those things, right? And that is part of not doing it alone, because now you've got a core inner circle of people who have created success, who are having those same levels of issues that you are, and that you can start to bounce ideas off of as well. So, and I wanted to go back to something that you hit on a few minutes ago, because I find it so funny that, how many times in business that we tend to make the same mistakes over and over and over again, right? So here I am on a show and I'm coaching people and telling people all of these business mistakes that people make, and don't do it alone, and go delegate it out or go outsource it, do whatever. And Craig, I kid you not, last week I spent probably half a day on Canva trying to create a logo, right? For my coaching business. And then finally went, why the hell am I doing this? And why am I not on 99 Designs? and, doing the logo contest like I've done before in several other businesses. Why am I trying to do this myself? And then finally was like, okay, screw it. So, went on 99 Designs and did the logo contest and, had a logo in, 3 days. So, instead of trying to do it myself, and something much better than I was going to come up with myself on Canva,
Right.
of course, right? So, I laugh because I'm like, here we are telling people and coaching people about these things, but it's always an ongoing process, right? It's always the things that, like, I sit down on the computer and go, oh, I need to get this done. This needs to get done. And I pull up, Canva and try to start doing it myself to go, wait, no, why are you doing this again? So, and reminding yourself that, you've got to do these, this is not the most efficient use of your time for what you need to be doing. You need to be doing this other stuff that's going to be bringing in business, not this time waster because you want to, frankly, put off the other stuff that you don't want to do right now. So
That you realized it.
Absolutely.
It only took 10 years in business to start recognizing it. That's all.
Totally. On the 10, just organizing. Well, I'm just doing this because I want to go do this other crap that I don't want to do. So yeah.
In recovery, in 12-step meetings in recovery for addiction, right, which is where I spent a lot of years, but a lot of time over the last 12 years. Which, as many of you know, I celebrated 13 years clean about 2 weeks ago. And one thing that they always talk about is, right, when you're first getting clean, don't go into a bar to pull your old friends out, because they'll probably pull you in before you get them out. It's the same thing in everything we do, whether it's in our health, whether it's in our spiritual aspirations, our business, our finances, our relationships. It doesn't make a difference what you're trying to create or what you're trying to build upon in your life. Anything that you want to do that is going to up-level your life, you want to be able to be around those people that are already living that, right? You want to go to those that are in your space. Like you said, you went to Sean as a mentor because he's already doing the things that you want to be doing, right? And when I was first in recovery, Pete, they said to me, you want to pick a sponsor, right? In 12-step recovery, everyone picks a sponsor. You want to pick a sponsor, listen to the people that are sharing in rooms and in meetings, and go to the person who is living that life that you want to live. And then go to that person as your sponsor. Ask that person to walk you through the steps, right? The 12 steps of recovery, and go to that. And the same thing goes in business, right? Listen, I know somebody, you said before, I don't know, I'm going to find Richard Branson. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to him. He's not going to come to somebody. Like, I know somebody that yesterday is fairly new in business, reached out to somebody who spends a lot of time on Necker Island and said, what would it look like for you to be my mentor? There's no money at all. I have no idea how it could ever work out, but I had an access point. I figured I might as well ask, what would it look like if you would be my mentor? I don't know what that conversation ended up like. We never caught up again. Hopefully next week I'll be able to tell you it's a whole big success. This person is on their way to their final dreams, to their outcome that they always dreamed of. But that's what it's really all about, is don't do it alone, right? Never do it alone, because there's no steps that we're going to take in this world that we're meant to be taken alone. So don't think that just because it's business. That's one thing that I never understood. I used to work in an industry that everyone was so fearful of. And when I would say the company I worked for, they would be so weirded out that the company name was the same company you did business, was the name of the company you were doing business as. In other words, every one of them would have one business that was that one name of the company that they worked for, and they were doing business as another name, but they would never let you know that name of that company, because they were always afraid of people figuring it out and trying to hurt you and trying to take your business away or trying to destroy your business. So they never wanted you to know which company they were doing business as. And they would go to such lengths. I'm like, I don't understand. Is this espionage work? Like, are we on like the clandestine CIA, like spy network? Like, no, we're selling products. Like we're selling electronics. Like what is wrong with you people? It's just, this is the way that people see things, is hide yourself, insulate yourself, keep yourself close knit, right? Hidden. Ray Dalio, one of the most successful financial minds of the 20th century, and 21st, he said the number one principle of his life is radical transparency. And people used to tell him, you can't say those things, we're gonna get sued, they're gonna put us in the newspaper. It's like, let them sue us, let them put us in the newspaper, like we're not doing anything wrong. Yeah, but nobody talks about those things. I don't care. Yeah, listen, he would never put anybody in harm or anything like that, but that's the idea, right? You want to understand that we're not on an island, we're not by ourselves, we are here to do things together, to create together. So why not open that same space in your own personal life and your own personal business, right?
If we are on an island, we're not closing our borders to anybody, right? Yeah. And I think that's an important point, and we're coming to the top of the hour, so probably one that we can end on and be important on is that, we're talking about tonight, don't do it alone. And that's probably the great point to end on, is to know that you're not alone. Right. And I'm sure you've experienced as much as I have, but being a business owner is really freaking lonely. Right. Yes. And you can feel alone because we do experience problems, and we have down months, and we have payroll issues, and we have these things, and we get so, like you said, you get so scared to be transparent and to share those problems and to share those issues, knowing that every business owner has them. So, and that's where the not doing it alone, the having the mentor, the having the mastermind groups, having people in your inner circle, your tribe of people is so important. And don't go alone, because you're not alone. We all have those issues. We all experience them. So reach out and get help, learn what you need to do, think outside the box, innovate, figure out how to outsource and how you can change and exponentially grow your business. So. All right.
Well, thank you so much, Siobhan. This has been awesome. Another episode straight through, and we are at the time to go. I would love for people to have the opportunity to be able to reach out to you, and please let them know how can they get to you if they want?
They get to me. As always, if you're watching this, you're watching it on my Facebook page, most likely, so you already know how to reach me. And so you can just get into the instant messenger there and send me an instant message. Or if you are listening somehow on some way that is posted on our YouTube pages, then you can call me at 813-501-7721 or email me at info@oliverolaw.com. Or we have an email at leadershipbydesign630 at gmail.com. And Craig, how can they reach you?
Well, listen, it's the same exact thing. You're reaching me on Siobhan's page. You can tag me over there, send me a message, just go to my page, message me over there. Better yet, on LinkedIn as well. I spend much more of my time over there because that's my passion, is helping business owners, and I find more people are reaching out over there. But you can also give me a call, send me a message directly at 347-607-1213, or Craig at impacttoinfluence.com. That's number 2, impacttoinfluence.com. And I am so excited about our upcoming weeks that we have. We do have a few more in this series, as well as upcoming ideas with people that want to be able to join on. Anybody that has a question, that has an idea, has anything going on in their business, or is working with somebody in a business that has some topic that they're trying to get through, feel free to let us know. We would love to either talk about it, share about it, or have you come on and talk about it on the show. And we look forward to being able to engage with each and every single one of you. And like Siobhan said, leadershipbydesign630@gmail.com. Feel free to send us an email over there with any topics that you want us to discuss. And we look forward to hearing from you very, very soon. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. This is going to be already future fulfilled, the best year for each and every single one of us. And I can't wait to hear how you are all creating your businesses and your leadership by design.
Yes, amazing. And before we go, we had a special guest with us who refused to come on camera, but here he is, my son, right there.
Hey, what's going on? Finally.
So, all right, bye everybody. We'll see you next week.
Hey guys.